Well, hey, welcome back to the Brand Marketing Show. Kath Langman here. And I have to say, if you are listening to this right now on the day that it goes live, being Black Friday, the blackest of Fridays, there's a very good chance you're doing it while packing orders or maybe refreshing your Shopify dashboard for the 47 millionth time today. Maybe you've taken a quick break between responding to customer emails, those ones where they're asking, where's my order? Even though the tracking shows it's literally on the truck. Am I close? Look, I know exactly where you're at right now. We are in the thick of Black Friday or Beauty Friday or Bright Friday or Bling Friday. We like to have a little bit of fun with this promotion with our various clients. Or, as you might like to think of it, as the beautiful chaos portion of the retail marketing calendar. When your ads are running, your inbox is overflowing, your inventory is moving, and you're probably surviving on caffeine and pure adrenaline. So, before we go any further with this episode, I really want you to hear this. I think you're doing brilliantly. I mean, seriously, the fact that you're still standing, you're still shipping, you're still showing up for your customers during the busiest shopping weekend of the year, it's not a small thing. So, whether or not your numbers are exceeding expectations, or you are just grateful that you haven't had a complete website meltdown, or you're somewhere in between, you're in it, you're doing it. And that really deserves acknowledgement. Now, I also know that this period isn't just physically exhausting, it's also emotionally exhausting as well. There's this roller coaster that happens during this particular promotional weekend. I mean, it happens with any kind of big promotion, whether it's a product launch or a sale or whatever, but Black Friday to Cyber Monday, it seems to have its own kind of vibe, and you swing between moments of, oh my goodness, the sales are coming in and it's incredible, to why did that ad suddenly stop performing, to I haven't eaten lunch and it's 4 p.m. And here's something else that I don't think anyone really talks about much. It's that anxiety that builds even when things are going well, because, you're constantly thinking about what could go wrong or what you might have forgotten. What if the courier doesn't pick up on time? What if we run out of that best-selling product? What if a customer complaint goes viral? What if? And it's a lot. So if you're feeling it, I see you. So, this episode is actually all about the science of surviving peak season. It's going to be kind of light on, but also useful and tangible, as I always like to make things. And to begin with, I really wanted to share with you a couple of things that I do personally to help maintain my energy during this time of the year, because without a doubt, every year is going to be full on at this time of the year if you're running an e-commerce business or a brand, right? And I'm not going to give you some kind of vague practice self-care advice here, because that's not very helpful. So, what I actually want to talk about is the brain science behind why these practices that I'm going to share with you do work. Because I know you, my fellow productpreneurs, you don't just want to be told what to do. In fact, you probably don't want to be told what to do, otherwise, you wouldn't have become an entrepreneur. So, you want to understand why it works. And so the first thing that I do, and this is going to sound really simple, but hopefully you can stay with me here, is that I maintain a few moments of meditation and gratitude every single day. I'm not doing the whole, monk sitting there meditating silently for half an hour. I'm not doing any kind of elaborate rituals, as much as I would love to have that amount of time to just sit and be some days. What I'm actually just doing is a few intentional minutes, and it still works. And here's why this isn't just feel-good advice. When you practice gratitude, something really remarkable actually happens in your brain. Research from multiple neuroscience studies have shown that feelings of gratitude help activate the hypothalamus and the limbic system. And these are the parts of your brain that help to regulate emotions, memory, and bodily functions. And when these areas light up with gratitude, your brain releases dopamine and serotonin. And of course, dopamine is your brain's reward neurotransmitter. It makes you feel good. And importantly, it makes you feel like you want to repeat the behavior that triggered it. So gratitude literally creates a positive feedback loop in your brain. And serotonin is your mood stabilizer. So it helps to regulate your willpower and your motivation. And we definitely need both of those at this time of the year. And together, these neurotransmitters create what researchers call a virtuous cycle. And who doesn't want to feel a little bit virtuous at this time of the year or at any time? But here's the bit that really matters for those of us, during this kind of a busy promotional time of the year, or just at any time when you're really, really, really busy. It is training your brain to notice all of the little wins, and this helps you to feel successful, right? And it helps you to feel like you're making progress. When you're a business owner, you're an entrepreneur, and you are putting it all out on the line, which we tend to do when we are running big promotions, you know, we need to have all of these little reminders, all of these little bits of evidence that kind of add up to helping us to feel like we're doing it, right? And that feeling of progress keeps those really productive brain chemistry levels really high. And that, of course, helps you sustain your energy when you really need it most. I mean, if you think about it, when you're in the middle of chaos, your brain naturally wants to focus on problems because that's what brains do. But if you've been training it to also notice what's going right, that order that shipped, that can be little things, an order that ships early, or a really lovely customer review, or the fact that you literally just ticked, the 3 most important things off your to-do list today, or, something like an email performed really well, or an ad creative is going exceptionally well and better than you expected, or whatever. You are literally rewiring your neural pathways to be more resilient. And studies have shown that people who keep a gratitude journal feel happier, sleep better, have fewer health complaints. And the practice helps to calm the amygdala, which is our brain's stress center, and activates the prefrontal cortex, which is responsible for decision making and emotional regulation. So during peak seasons, when your stress hormones really do want to run the show, gratitude is like that circuit breaker. It helps to keep the cortisol and anxiety in check whilst boosting the serotonin and the oxytocin that help you to stay calm and connected. So that, a few minutes a day of, meditation and practicing some gratitude. I don't always write those things out, by the way, but I try to do that some of the time, at least, because of that connection between the physicality of handwriting and things sinking into the memory. And the second thing that I do is reduce the number of decisions that I personally need to make each day. And I'm talking about the mundane ones, what to wear, what to eat, when to exercise, because, and I'm sure I'm not telling you anything you don't know here, but there is some pretty fascinating research on this thing called decision fatigue. I mean, this is probably why the Steve Jobs of the world would wear the same outfit every single day. And there was this study that I read a while back that really made me pay attention. Or, I mean, I didn't read the actual scientific study, I was reading the article about it, where researchers analysed over 1,000 parole decisions made by Israeli judges over a 10-month period. And what they found was really striking, because the prisoners who appeared early in the morning received parole about 70% of the time, but by late afternoon, that number dropped to nearly 10%. And this is with the same judges, the same types of cases, and the only difference really was timing and the mental exhaustion that comes from making decision after decision all day long. And so the theory behind this is that we have a finite store of mental energy for making decisions, which psychologists call the ego depletion. And every choice you make, no matter how small, draws from this limited resource. And so when it's depleted, your brain starts looking for shortcuts. You become more likely to either make impulsive choices or just avoid making decisions altogether. And so bear that in mind, and then think about what you're doing during a really peak promotional time like Black Friday and Christmas. You are making hundreds of micro decisions every day. Should I adjust this ad budget? What's the best response to this customer complaint? Do I need to reorder this product? Should I extend this promotion? Is that influencer worth partnering with? And, ad infinitum. And by the time you get to what should I make for dinner, your brain is genuinely depleted. And this isn't weakness or lack of discipline, it's just human biology. So what I try and do is to remove as many decisions as possible from my day, and I stick to routines. I have, a small rotation of easy meals that I don't have to think about at this time of the year. I wear very similar outfits. I exercise at the same days and time each week. These aren't particularly exciting choices, but that's kind of the point. I'm saving my decision-making capacity for the things that actually matter. And the research is clear here. People who manage decision fatigue are best, then they're doing it. They're not doing it by being tougher than everyone else or having, better self-discipline than everyone else. They're literally doing it by setting up their circumstances to minimize the amount of self-control that they actually need to exert. So they plan ahead, they build habits, and they create systems. So if you are feeling mentally fried right about now, it's not because you're not cut out for this, it's because you're a human with a brain that has biological limits, and you want to honor those limits. And in doing so, you'll actually make better decisions where it really counts. All right, so now that we get your survival toolkit out of the way, gratitude to keep the good brain chemistry flowing and decision reduction to preserve your mental energy for what matters. Now let's talk about what happens next, because, Black Friday is going to end in a few days, hopefully with really fantastic results for you. And then there's going to be this window, there's a crucial window between the end of the sale madness and the Christmas shipping deadlines. And what you do in that window can make a massive difference to how you close out the year and the position that you put yourself in to begin the new year. So let's talk about the week after Black Friday and how you can set up your December success. Because here's the thing a lot of people don't talk about. There is often a massive sales dip after a big sale promotion like Black Friday. It's not unique to the Black Friday promotion, by the way, but, I guess what's happening is customers have just experienced this really intense shopping event. Their wallets might be feeling a little bit lighter right now, and there's a collective exhale before the final Christmas push. Or maybe that's just those of us in e-commerce, I don't know. But here's what's really interesting about this period. Yes, your sales might go down, but customer intent is still incredibly high. People are still thinking about gifts. They're starting to realize that they haven't bought maybe for their sister-in-law yet, or they need something for their child's teacher, or they promised themselves they'd treat themselves to something nice this year, or, many, many other things that crop up. And then there's people like me who don't start Christmas shopping at all until December, because one of my children has their birthday at the end of November, and I can't think about Christmas until after we get through Hamish's celebration. And here's what's even more interesting, though, for premium brands specifically. This is when values-aligned marketing really shines, because the discount noise is dying down. The whole shouting of everything 70% off emails are slowing. Customers who genuinely care about quality, the ones who'd rather support a local maker maybe than hand over more money to Amazon, are looking for something different. And they're looking for meaningful gifts. They're looking for brands that stand for something that they believe in. They're looking for that feeling of giving someone something really special, not just something for the sake of something. So I want to give you just a few strategies, and these are going to be things that you can just start thinking about in the back of your mind now, whilst you're busy just getting through the next few days, to have a few ideas in your toolkit for the period between Cyber Monday and Christmas shipping cutoff dates. And the first one is to capture the warm leads. So, let's talk about all of those people who do visit your site during this Black Friday, Cyber Monday period, but didn't buy. I mean, in any sale period, you are going to have a significant portion of traffic that browses. Maybe they do add to cart, but maybe they don't. But, a lot of people that don't actually complete the purchase, they're not cold leads, they're warm. They already have been showing interest in what you're selling. So in the week after Black Friday, Cyber Monday, consider a gentle follow-up campaign specifically for these people, not with another screaming discount, but with something that might speak to their underlying motivation or interests or whatever is going on in their lives right now. Maybe it is highlighting your shipping deadlines, still time to get it there for Christmas. Maybe it's showcasing customer reviews from people who've already received their Black Friday orders. Nothing builds trust like social proof. Or maybe it's offering gift wrapping or a personalized note option that makes their purchase feel a little bit more considered. But the key here is that you're not begging them to come back. You're not desperately slashing prices even further. You're simply making it easier for them to complete a purchase that they were already considering. Strategy 2 is the quiet confidence approach. And I love this concept because it's really aligned with the kind of premium brand positioning that I personally believe in, at least trying to attain, right? Rather than the whole discount race to the bottom. Because while everyone else is screaming about sales, you're going to take a different approach. Have a think about what it's like to walk into a high-end boutique versus a discount warehouse. The boutique doesn't have flashing lights and countdown timers everywhere. It has beautiful displays, knowledgeable staff, an atmosphere that says, we know our products are worth it and we trust you to recognize that too. So your December marketing can have that kind of energy as well. You can focus on the story behind your products and highlight the craftsmanship, the ingredients, the origin story. Share the why of your brand in a way that really resonates with customers who care about those things. Last week on the show, I was talking about being able to articulate your customer moments, and this is a fantastic time to practice that. You want to, it would be a way to create urgency without any kind of panic. So order by December 15th. The guaranteed Christmas delivery, for example, is urgent but calm, and it's helpful information without being, high pressure. And this is especially powerful for the customers who actively seek out quality and uniqueness, and the ones who want to support independent brands and local artisans rather than just defaulting to the big behemoths who really don't need us to line their pockets any further. They're actually turned off by that kind of desperation, and they respond to the brands that show quiet confidence in their value. And the third strategy I want to mention here is to re-engage your new Black Friday customers, because your Black Friday Cyber Monday promo likely did bring some new customers into your brand's orbit. People who'd never purchased you from, before have taken the leap during the sale, and these customers can be a critical point or at a critical point in their relationship with your brand, because they have just made one purchase. Whether they make a second largely depends on the experience that they have right now. So think about your post-purchase sequence. What are they receiving after that order confirmation? I hope it's more than just shipping notifications. Consider maybe a welcome to the brand, welcome to your brand family type message. Tell them who you are, what you stand for, why you do what you do. Give them content that helps them to get the most out of their purchase. Maybe share tips for using your product or styling ideas or recipes if you're in the food space. The goal is to make them feel like they've joined something, not just bought something, because if they feel connected to your brand, they're much more likely to think of you when they need a gift for someone else in December. Some brands include a bounce back offer with their Black Friday, Cyber Monday orders. Maybe it's a small incentive valid in December that gives customers a reason to return. That can work particularly well for some brands because they've already established trust. And, the holiday gifting season is still in full swing, and that, would mean that you're still top of mind. Fourth strategy I want to mention is the Advent calendar concept. And this has kind of come back into the forefront of my mind. I've loved running these sorts of promotions in the past and sort of haven't really thought about it for a couple of years. But I've been seeing a lot of brands and products selling some of the most beautiful Advent calendars, like the physical ones, with little windows full of their products in them. I'm sure you've seen them as well, and not just the chocolate kind. Really beautiful. And they, those gorgeous physical advent calendars are a lot of fun. And I love packaging, so I find them, especially delightful. But there's an interesting idea in there for those of us in digital marketing or, promoting an online business like an e-commerce brand, because it's a concept that can translate really beautiful to online campaigns as well. And I have talked about this on the show in years gone by, but not recently. And if you think about why advent calendars work, every day there's a little surprise, there's something new to discover, there's that sense of anticipation, the daily reveal, triggers a little mini dopamine hit in the customer's brains, and it creates an urge to return for the next reveal. Now, at this point in the year, I'm not going to advocate doing this for a full 24 or 25 days. That would be a bit ridiculous if you haven't started. And even a 12 days of Christmas campaign might be a little bit much, but it could be a shorter 7 days of gifting countdown or something along those lines. But the key elements really are that daily content that gives people a reason to engage with you, a sense of progression and building excitement, and rewards for participation, whether it's exclusive content, discounts, other, free product offers, or entry into prize draws, or whatever the case may be. For brands that are in our audience, this could be done in a beautifully elegant way. Maybe each door reveals a story from a customer about how your product changed their routine. Maybe it's behind the scenes content showing how your products are made. Maybe it's a partnership with complementary brands where you reveal different gift bundle ideas each day. There's so many different ideas that you could reach for. And the beauty of this approach is that it keeps customers coming back day after day. And in a season where everyone is fighting for attention with bigger and bigger discounts, what it means that you end up doing is building a relationship through really consistent and delightfully engaging content, which is always wonderful. And you can run this across email for sure, but also social media as well. You can create an interactive element on your website. Some brands even gamify it. Customers answer a quiz question each day or play a simple game to unlock that day's content or offer. For the productpreneurs in my audience, I would definitely encourage you to think about what you could realistically create if this is a new idea for you to explore. Even a simple social media series where you're revealing a different gift each day, an idea each day with a story behind why you chose it. That can be incredibly effective. And it doesn't have to be complicated. It can just be consistent and genuine. And the fifth strategy idea that I want to leave with you is the meaningful gift positioning. Because here's something I think is really important, especially for purpose-driven brands, innovative brands, premium brands. By the time we get into December, many consumers are experiencing what I would call discount fatigue. It's a bit like decision fatigue, but of the purchase variety. And they've been bombarded with sales messages for weeks now. They've bought a bunch of stuff. Part of them might be starting to feel a little bit empty about it. And this is where positioning your products as really meaningful gifts rather than just more stuff becomes really powerful. And if you think about the language that you use, like a gift that lasts instead of buy now, something she'll actually use every day instead of great deal, made by hand in regional Victoria instead of just free shipping or whatever, right? That quality conscious buyer, the customer who values craftsmanship, authenticity, and meaning, who would rather put their money into a small business rather than another faceless corporation, is looking for permission to buy something good rather than something just crappy, cheap quality, right? Give them that permission. Show them why your product is the thoughtful choice, the considered choice, the gift that says something about the giver as much as the receiver. If your brand has a sustainability angle, lean into it. If your products support local makers or give back to a cause, tell that story. In a sea of disposable consumption, standing for something matters more than ever. Now, I want to round out today's episode with just a little bit about protecting your energy for the final push towards the close of our calendar year. And before we wrap up, I really want to come back to something that we touched on at the start, which is really about that protecting your energy. Because here's the truth, you can have the best December marketing strategy in the world, but if you're burnt out and you are running on empty, you're not going to be able to execute it very well. And honestly, even if your strategies work brilliantly, if you're miserable and exhausted, what is the actual point? So let me share some practical ways to protect your energy as we head into the final weeks of the year. Try and plan your December now, your December marketing now, even in your mind, while you have a tiny bit of breathing room between Black Friday and the final push. I know you're exhausted, but future you will thank you, present you enormously if you can batch create some of that content or pre-schedule those emails or set up those automations or just chip away at some of these things and get them in place. Even just mapping out what you want to communicate and when takes a massive cognitive load off your future self. Remember what I said earlier about decision fatigue? Planning ahead means fewer decisions to make in the moment. Second, try and set some boundaries with yourself. I know it's a busy season, and yes, there's a lot to do, but there's a difference between working hard and working yourself into the ground. Maybe it's deciding that you won't answer customer emails after 8 o'clock. Maybe it's booking in a proper lunch break and actually taking it. Maybe it's protecting Sunday mornings for something that fills you up personally or just sleeping in, if you're able to. The research on sustainable performance is really clear. Rest is not a reward for hard work. It is a prerequisite for good work. And strategic breaks actually improve your performance. It improves decision making, it improves creativity, and it improves your ability to just hang in there and keep going, Third, and this is a big one, lean into what's already working rather than trying to reinvent everything. Look at your Black Friday data. What products sold really well? What messaging really resonated? What emails had the best open rates? You don't need to always come up with completely new strategies for December. You can double down on what's already proven to work with your specific audience, and that's going to be a really efficient use of limited energy stores, right? And finally, take a moment, just a moment, to remember why you started your business in the first place. Somewhere under the order fulfillment and the ad dashboards and the customer service tickets, there's a reason that you do this. Maybe you created a product that solved a real problem. Maybe you wanted to offer something really beautiful in a sea of mass-produced mediocrity. Maybe you dreamed of being your own boss and building something meaningful for yourself and your family. Whatever it was, that reason still matters, and reconnecting with it, even briefly, can give you a bit of an energy boost, probably better than any amount of caffeine can provide. So let's bring it all together and bring it to a close. Right now, in the thick of Black Friday, Cyber Monday, remember gratitude practice to keep those good neurotransmitters flowing and decision reduction to preserve your mental energy for what matters. Your brain has limits. You've got to work with them, not against them. Looking ahead to December, remember, capture those warm leads with gentle, value-focused follow-up. Take the quiet confidence approach that premium brands do best. Re-engage with your new Black Friday customers with content that makes them feel part of something. Consider creative concepts like the digital advent calendar type promo that can build daily engagement, and position your products as meaningful gifts in a world drowning in disposable consumption. And through it all, try and protect your energy, plan ahead, set those boundaries, and lean into what works. And of course, remember your why. You've got this, you are doing this, and I'm genuinely cheering you on from here. If today's episode resonated with you, I would love to hear from you, but I'd also love to invite you to share it with a mate who's, maybe a business owner deep in the chaos of this crazy time of year. It might be something that can help someone else as well. But until next time, keep building that beautiful brand of yours, and I look forward to being in your ears again next week. Bye for now.